Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jerry Kern, the CEO and co-chair of the board of the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. You're here today to hear our vision of building a better Boettcher. Just a few words of introduction that Boettcher has been the home of the symphony since it was built. This orchestra is one of the best in the country. And if you don't trust my judgment, feel free to meet with Andrew after one of the concerts, and he'll tell you that. And Andrew's taking the orchestra to even higher levels of artistic performance. A great symphony, like any great sports team, needs a symphony hall or a field to play on. They're not itinerant musicians. We need to find a way, and we believe we found it, to repurpose the hall so that it can serve as the home of the symphony for at least another 35 years. Just a couple of fact points for you all. Since the hall was built, the symphony has paid millions of dollars in seat tax and rent for purposes of maintaining the hall. And that money was not spent to maintain the hall, which is why we find ourselves in the place that we are today. Then, of course, you'll remember that in 2007, $60 million of bond money was raised to renovate the hall, and the very largest percentage of that was spent on other city properties, and there remains between approximately $20 million that could be used to repurpose the hall. In any event, 3 years ago, we began working with Semple Brown, the architectural firm, and particularly with Chris Weinman. He'll be out here. Oh, there he is. Chris Weinman, who's had a great deal of experience with building performing arts halls. Semple Brown and Chris came to us with a plan that I think is tremendously innovative. And I'm going to now introduce Chris.
Thank you, Jerry. It's an honor, as you may imagine, to be on the same stage as the musicians of the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. We believe that there is every good reason for Boettcher Concert Hall to continue to serve Denver and the Rocky Mountain West as a first-class music venue for decades to come. As a firm, we first worked in Boettcher Concert Hall in 2001 on a relatively minor redecoration of the lobby spaces. And even at that time, we were aware that we were only scratching the surface of the needs of the hall, but it also helped us to begin to appreciate what the potential in the building was. And ever since that time, we have studied the drawings, talked with some of the consultants who worked on the building originally, looked at all of the studies that have been done and put forward, whether by the city or by the symphony, reviewed all of the acoustical studies, identifying what potential improvements could be made. And we think we've learned several lessons that inform the proposal that you're going to see today. First is that the cubic volume of the hall simply needs to be reduced. There's a lot of extra air in here. Second, the reflective surfaces of the architecture, and particularly those close to the musicians, need to be larger in scale and more completely surround the musicians. And last, the hall needs flexibility in seat count and configuration to help the CSO support the broad range of ensemble sizes and types of repertoire that they are currently presenting. On the basis of those lessons, we gave ourselves the assignment to figure out a way to change the hall as little as possible. Our conceptual design is based around two significant yet cost-effective changes. The first is to create a flat floor where you see the yellow dashed line. a flat floor that would still support raked seating of the kind that you're sitting in. This is exactly the kind of goal that the Boston Symphony Hall created years ago in its design, and much more recently the Nashville Symphony Hall has created, in order to give the CSO flexibility in seating format for things like pops, concerts, special events, and rentals. The other, which is also visible here, is when you look at the ceiling of the hall, you can see that it is shaped much more aggressively to serve as acoustical reflectors, both to bring the sound back down to the stage so the musicians can hear each other and perform effectively as an ensemble, but also to put the sound where it needs to be for the orchestra, for the audience. This reflects best practice now in other surround halls. You can see it in Disney Concert Hall in LA, the new Kaufman Center in Kansas City, and the new World Symphony Hall in Miami. And so we've been studying those as a comparative element. We're strategically adding seats close to the stage. You can see those on this plan in orange. And then you can see in orange on the right-hand side of the image the seats that would be above the flat floor. Those move in and out on a series of platforms. So this preserves Boettcher's distinctive intimacy. We'll start with some of the very small changes, the minimal changes in the hall. And if you'll notice on the plan, you can see the gaps in the seating around the stage area. And that's part of what is creating an acoustical void. So as we move forward, in that plan we show the new seating areas in orange that I talked about. So on the left-hand side of the image, you can see how that helps to complete the enclosure around the stage. You can see that the parquet, where the chorus performs, has actually been removed so that we get a taller reflective surface behind the musicians. And you'll see consistently throughout these images that we're showing the musicians on a series of risers. You can see that this is the type of seating that we're talking about over the flat floor. This is from a company from England that provides a similar system for Royal Albert Hall in London, where the London Symphony Orchestra plays. They also provided the seats for the Belco Theater across the street in the Convention Center Assembly Hall. And I can assure you these feel very much like permanent concert seating. With the largest possible configuration, you would have a maximum of 2378 seats in the hall for very popular soloists, for large-scale events, and preserves income earning capacity for the symphony. We gain a great deal of flexibility, and you can see here is a perspective view how the orange seats help to complete the enclosure of the stage area for the musicians. You can also get a sense of what the acoustical reflectors are doing coming down from the reshaped ceiling, and how now that sense of enclosure around the musicians is even more complete. Next, in POPs format with a flat floor, now you can see in plan what the tables and chairs on a flat floor would look like, with up to 2,100 seats, and in perspective, a capacity or a capability that is very much sought after by orchestras across the country for flexibility and format. Obviously, the CSO is known for playing film scores live, and so we gave ourselves the task of figuring out how the hall would be shaped then. So where we have grayed out the seating sections, those seats would not be sold for this kind of concert, and there would be a screen hanging behind the stage and above, and that capacity would be 1,960. And then by following a similar idea, we can custom size the seating capacity of the hall according to the repertoire that's being played, according to the popularity of the program, and according to the ability of the symphony to sell tickets, so that at relatively short notice, they could make more seats available for a popular concert. So this shows grayed out the seats pushing the audience to surround the stage at 1,700 seats. And then for even smaller kind of recital format things, we might not seat behind the stage, but would compress the audience in 1,183 seats just in front of the stage. We also give ourselves the task by utilizing a portion of the flat floor for standing area or dancing to give the ability to present concerts that might not involve the symphony at a stage at this end, but that would create capacity of about 2,500 seats. So in terms of flexibility, in terms of including or accommodating a greater diversity of uses and boosting the use of the hall, we think that this is a very effective plan. When you look at this image, I think that you can get a sense that these relatively simple design moves can have a very significant impact on how the hall feels, on what it looks like, and what it would be like to be inside the room. It would also give you the ability to employ new technology and media in some exciting ways, to visually enhance concerts, and to really help bring the hall as both a recording and a performance venue into the 21st century. We feel like when we have walked through the 10 plus years of studying these alternatives, that we can build a better Boettcher. That Boettcher can be better for the musicians, Boettcher can be better for the audience, Boettcher can be better for the community in terms of the breadth of programming that it supports. And Boettcher can be better also for the other constituents of the arts complex who need performance dates in their own venues to be able to grow and improve their own programming. And we think this is a bright future for a hall that has given the community 35 years of worthy service and is well worth the necessary investment to have another 35. Thanks very much.
So what does it all cost? All in, including replacing the seats that are in sections that are not being removed, building in a new media capability so that we could actually broadcast and stream video from the hall. We were looking at a total cost of $40 million. Now, the city has today between or approximately $20 million of bond money available from the original bond offering. The city sold micro bonds within the last month, and they could probably make available $5 million of the micro bond money. So that would leave a gap of $15 to $20 million. And we're prepared to sit down and work with the city to talk about how the balance of $15 to $20 million can be raised. All the tenants of the Plex, and we've had conversations that included the DCPA as well, believe that Boettcher should not be torn down, that the Plex needs refreshing beyond repurposing Boettcher, and that the tenants of the Plex need a better financial arrangement. We need to be out there promoting this plan. And you will be given opportunities at concerts and elsewhere to have your voices heard. We, of course, at the Symphony have pressing scheduling needs. Right now, we have a commitment to be here through May 31st of 2015, which is our current season. We are now planning 15-16, and we need to know where we're going to play in 15-16 and thereafter. This is one of the great orchestras in the country. It's an asset that the city should not waste, and that I really believe the citizens of the city and the state support and believe in. So we need everybody's help to build a better Boettcher. I might point out, since numbers are very important to us as they are to all of you, that the work that Semple Brown and Hazelden and our public relations people, the Bauman Group, have done has all been done pro bono, because they believe and we're grateful to them for everything that they've done. Well, thank you all for coming, and let's all go out there and build a better Boettcher, you betcha.